After my wife left me for an A-list celebrity, she regretted it terribly. It was the 9th time intimate photos of her and Chad had been taken. I asked for a divorce, but she slapped me and sneered, "Fine, let's divorce, you'll leave empty-handed. Don't forget, if it weren't for me, you'd still be just a lousy security guard." At home, Audrey threw the divorce papers in my face. She had just printed out the divorce agreement. She looked at me with a face full of scorn and mockery, saying dismissively, "Either one who brought up divorce. I didn't force you. Ethan, do you think you can threaten me with tactics like this? Have I been too good to you lately, making you think you can control me? If he's so brave, just sign it. Don't be wishy-washy. It makes me look down on you." She looked as if she had me completely figured out, her face thick with mockery. I looked at her, feeling as though she was a complete stranger. The I saw now was entirely different from the Audrey I had fallen in love with. The only constant in this world is the ever-changing human heart. At that moment, I truly understood the meaning of those words. I signed the divorce agreement, in duplicate, and handed one copy to Audrey. Audrey froze, a flicker of panic in her eyes. It seemed she hadn't expected me to actually sign the divorce agreement. I calmly said, "The divorce agreement is signed. There's a mandatory waiting period for divorce of 1 month. After this month, we'll go to the county's office to get the divorce. Starting today, I won't be living here anymore. I'll pack my things and leave. If you want to bring Chad home, that's up to you. But you'd better be careful not to get caught by paparazzi again. Just bear with it for 1 more month, and you'll be free. Then, even if you want to marry Chad, no one will say anything." Audrey took a few sharp breaths, as if my words had enraged her, and sneered, "I don't believe you're really willing to divorce me. Everything you have now, I gave you. Once you leave me, you'll be nothing. It's easy to go from frugality to luxury, but hard to go from luxury to frugality. I don't believe you can give up your current life of luxury and wealth so easily. If you want to go, I won't stop you. A month from now, I'll be waiting for you to come back and beg for my forgiveness." With that, without waiting for my reply, Audrey stormed out of the house. I looked at the divorce agreement in front of me, my eyes welling up, my nose stuck, and I wanted to cry, but I had no tears left. Audrey had once been a beacon of light for me during my darkest period. Her presence gave me the courage to face life again. Back then, Audrey and I were inseparable. I thought fate had finally started to smile upon me. However, just a few years into our marriage, Audrey gradually grew impatient with me. Several times, I saw her with my own eyes, snuggling in other men's arms, drinking and having fun. I had also angrily argued with her about it. Each time, she'd impatiently tell me, "Ethan, do you understand what just for show means? I am an award-winning producer in the entertainment industry. If I really wanted to fool around, I could find any man I wanted. Why would I bother marrying you? I've told you before, even though we're married, you can't interfere with my freedom, or disturb my work. Can't you be more open-minded? Stop being so petty, all right?" She challenged my emotional limits again and again. In her eyes, I was utterly dependent on her, which was why she was so reckless in her intimacy with other men outside our home. Didn't she understand that love is never a one-sided endeavor? She must have known the truth. She just didn't care. I was tired. I no longer wanted to continue this relationship that had left me so scarred. Even if I lost everything after leaving her, I didn't want to remain by her side, feeling so repressed. "Audrey, I am setting you free, and I am setting myself free too. I was adopted at a young age and didn't know who my birth parents were, or if they were even still alive. My adoptive parents didn't have much, but they were very good to me. The year I finished junior high, my adoptive parents passed away unexpectedly, and their relatives seized their property. I was forced out of the house, and left to wander the streets. I worked in factories, delivered food, and struggled to support myself, but seemed to have it in for me, making me seriously ill. I spent half a month in the hospital, which not only drained my savings of the past few years, but also left me deeply in debt. After being discharged, feeling utterly disheartened, I happened upon a security guard recruitment notice for Moonlight. I was in good shape and looked presentable, so I smoothly became a security guard. Later, I met Audrey. Audrey was 3 years older than me, an owner in Moonlight. always driving luxury cars. A few of us young security guards used to idly fantasize and chat, if I could get noticed by a beautiful wealthy woman like that, I'd willingly cut 20 years off my life. I heard there was a handsome security guard who got set up by a rich lady. He got over $100,000 a month, and she even bought him a luxury car and a mansion. That guy just looked good, and went straight to the top of his life. I heard that too. But that rich lady was a bit old, almost 50. Later, her son found out, hired people to break the guy's legs, and disfigured his face. Hooking up with a rich woman depends on luck. You might even lose your life. Young people's fantasies about a good life are always so unrealistic. What I never expected was that what had started as an unrealistic fantasy, just like those of the other young security guards, would one day become reality. That evening, on my way back to my rental after work, I came across a drunken Audrey. She was squatting beside her luxury car, throwing up profusely. When she drunkenly tried to stand, she could barely keep her balance. Several guys were approaching her with ill intent. Audrey cursed them, but they grabbed her, saying something I couldn't make out. Seeing this, I didn't hesitate, rushing forward in a single bound. With a few punches and kicks, I knocked them to the ground. Initially, I thought they were trying to take advantage of Audrey while she was drunk. Later, I learned they were paparazzi reporters trying to get celebrity gossip and inside information from her while she was inebriated. After chasing off the paparazzi, Audrey passed out drunkenly. I had no idea how much she'd drunk. Even when I gently nudged her and called her name, she didn't respond. I couldn't just leave her on the street. I fumbled for her car keys in her small bag, opened the door, and placed her in the back seat. I then drove her luxury car straight back to Moonlight. The young security guards at the gate, seeing me drive a luxury car and bring a drunken Audrey home, all widened their eyes, their faces filled with disbelief. I brought Audrey home. Seeing the opulent decorations inside the villa, I was filled with envy, but it was just envy. I didn't have any other thoughts. Having lived for over 20 years, I felt as though fate had cursed me. I didn't ask for great wealth or luxury in this life, only enough to get by and survive. After taking the deeply sleeping Audrey to her bedroom, I quickly left. Just as I returned to my rental, I was blocked at my doorstep by debt collectors. A few burly men glared at me fiercely. Dustin, the leader, said coldly, "Ethan, your repayment date has been delayed for 3 months. I know you're in a tough spot, but I can't do anything about it. You still owe a full $100,000, with the meager security guard's salary earning now. When will you ever pay that back? Listen to me. Don't cling to that ridiculous pride of yours anymore. In this day and age, people laugh at poverty, not at sin. A single penny can bring down a hero." Brenda said that if you're willing to spend a month with her, she'll pay off your $100,000 debt. Don't miss out on an opportunity like this. While you're young, enjoy this youth meal for a few years, spend time with a few rich women, and you'll be set for life. The he spoke of was a wealthy woman in her 50s, stout and bad-tempered. I heard she had taken on several boy toys, but their fates were quite miserable. When I was sick in the hospital, I had no money for medical bills, so I had to take out a loan shark loan, just as these debt collectors said. With the meager security guard's salary I earned each month, it was impossible to know how long it would take to pay back that $100,000. Was I really going to stoop so low as to become a boy toy for others to play with, to trample my dignity for money, and to pander to that disgusting, obese woman? I didn't sleep a wink all night. At dawn, I went to work feeling drained, ready to resign from my security guard job. But when I arrived at the security office, I found Audrey already waiting for me. Her gaze at me was strange. She asked if I was willing to be her bodyguard and driver, and after hearing I owed $100,000 due to my illness, she generously helped me pay it off. From then on, I became another legend among the security guards at Moonlight. Over time, Audrey and I gradually grew closer, and naturally got married. Many people said I got lucky. Feeling envious and resentful of me, I didn't care. I regarded Audrey as a ray of light in my life, even treating her as my faith. My love for her was filled with deep gratitude and humility. Without her, I might truly have fallen into the abyss back then. I had thought fate had finally started to favor me, but only a few years into the marriage did I realize that the happiness I believed in was just fate, playing a cruel joke on me. I packed my clothes and other belongings, carrying my suitcase as I left the house. I planned to stay at a hotel first, but when I arrived and tried to check in with my card, the hotel staff gave me a strange look. "Sir, it seems your card has been frozen and cannot be used." I paused for a moment, then understood what was happening. Clearly, Audrey was behind it. This card was a supplementary credit card she had gotten for me, and I had used it for all my purchases over the years. I tried to use mobile payment, but found I only had a few $100s left on my phone. If I stayed at a hotel with that amount, it would be depleted in a single night. Under the strange gaze of the hotel staff, I turned and left, pulling my suitcase. I found a hostel, the kind that cost dozens of dollars a night, and temporarily settled in, since had stopped my card. It seemed my position at Apex wouldn't be safe either. Just as I was thinking this, HR at Apex called me, saying coldly, "Ethan, come to Apex, pack your things, and get out." Before I could respond, they hung up, even though I had guessed I would be fired from Apex. When HR called with such a harsh tone, I couldn't help but sigh. Over the years, I had stayed by Audrey's side, helping Apex handle many things. Apex had never paid me a dime. After all, it was Audrey's company, and I felt there was no need to fuss over it, so I gave willingly. However, when I was unceremoniously kicked out of Apex, I realized how ridiculous my passionate dedication had been. I remembered years ago, Audrey and I accompanied some major investors in the entertainment industry to discuss investments. Those investors demanded Audrey drink a significant amount of hard liquor before they would even talk business. It was I who risked my life to step in for Audrey and guzzle down a significant amount of hard liquor. It was from that moment that Apex truly established its footing in the entertainment industry, and was able to continuously expand and grow. At entertainment, I had always held the position of vice, although people at Apex were polite and respectful to me on the surface. Behind my back, they always said I rose through the ranks by relying on Audrey. The old me didn't care what others thought, but now, there was no longer a place for me there, and I didn't want to shamelessly stay, where people would point fingers and gossip. After arriving at Apex, many employees gave me strange looks, and whispered amongst themselves. Yesterday, photos of Ms. Audrey sweetly embracing Chad caused quite a stir online. I can't believe Ethan could still tolerate it. Ethan is just a kept man. I heard he was nothing but a lousy security guard back then. He only got lucky and became Ms. Audrey's husband. To put it nicely, Ms. Audrey married him. To put it bluntly, he married into the Tang family, and became nothing more than Ms. Audrey's pet dog. Audrey has been rumored to be romantically involved with several new idol male stars in recent years. Ethan, that kept man, must be used to it by now. With how many times he's been cheated on, I can't believe he can stand it. I ignored the strange looks from the employees at Apex and walked straight towards my office. Initially, I hadn't wanted to come. However, there was still something very important to me in the office that I absolutely had to take. When my adoptive parents found me on the side of the road, I was still an infant, and I had a palm-sized jade on me. It was the only thing my birth parents had left me. But when I pushed open the office door, I found Chad sitting in my desk chair, looking at me with a smug, arrogant expression. That look of a petty person getting what they wanted disgusted me. I ignored his provocation and searched the office bookshelf. I had always kept that jade hanging in the office bookshelf, but now it was nowhere to be found. Chad smirked maliciously. "Ethan, are you looking for this?" I turned my head and saw the jade in his hand. My face darkened. Just as I was about to snatch it, his hand simply released the jade. The amulet fell to the floor with a crisp shattering sound. I froze instantly, staring intently at the shattered jade. Chad's face showed mockery and disdain as he chuckled sinisterly. "Oops, my bad, it slipped. It's just a worthless jade. You wouldn't mind, would you?" He was deliberately trying to provoke me, and he succeeded. I roared, lunged forward, and wrestled with Chad. The commotion was loud, drawing many Apex employees to gather, and Audrey also rushed over. Without asking any questions, she publicly slapped me several times. She angrily scolded me. "Ethan, are you out of your mind? You know perfectly well that Chad is an A-list celebrity Apex just promoted. How could you hit him in the face? If his rabid fans find out, not only you, but Apex's reputation will be dragged down too." Before I could respond, Audrey hastily checked Chad's facial injuries. Looking very distressed, Chad's face was only slightly bruised and swollen, far less severe than the slaps Audrey had given me. At this moment, Chad said to Ms. Audrey with a wronged expression, "Ms. Audrey, it's all my fault. I accidentally broke Mr. Ethan's jade. Please don't blame Mr. Ethan. I am just clumsy and useless. Just let Mr. Ethan hit me a few more times to vent his anger." Only then did Audrey notice the shattered jade on the floor, and she instantly froze. Others might not know the significance of that jade to me, but how could Audrey not know? Even when I was starving back then, I never considered pawning this jade for money, because it was the only thing my birth parents had left me. A flicker of panic crossed Audrey's eyes, and a hint of guilt appeared in her gaze towards me. Just then, Ms. Audrey's secretary rushed over, saying urgently, "Ms. Audrey, the young lady from Sterling is here at Apex. She specifically asked to see Chad." Audrey's face instantly lit up with surprise, and she hastily told Chad, "Quick, put on some makeup and cover up the bruises on your face. Ms. Chloe from Sterling holds a very high position. If she takes a liking to you, you truly skyrocket to success." Chad also showed delight, then feigned difficulty as he glanced at me, and said to Ms. Audrey, "Mr. Ethan here." Audrey said dismissively, "Don't mind him." Then, Audrey said to me with a cold face, "Ethan, stay in the office for now. I am going to greet Ms. Chloe from Sterling. I'll deal with the conflict between you and Chad after I get back. As for that jade, it's broken, I'll get you a new one later. Don't act foolishly again. If you offend the young lady from Sterling, I won't forgive you." Before I could respond, Audrey left my office in a hurry with Chad. As left, he gave me a mocking, disdainful smile. I picked up the shattered jade piece by piece from the floor, my eyes warm, tears flowing. The shattering of this jade symbolized the breaking of the last shred of hope for finding my birth family that had lingered deep in my heart. After a long while, when I stood up to leave the office, I found that, unknowingly, people had gathered all around me. A mischievous young girl looked at the shattered jade in my hand, and asked cautiously, mixed with a hint of excitement, "What's your name? Whose amulet is that in your hand?" I didn't respond. Walking towards the office exit, Audrey and Chad blocked my path, scolding me angrily, "Ethan, Ms. Chloe is asking you a question. Are you deaf or mute? Don't throw a tantrum. Ms. Chloe is the young lady from Sterling. For her to speak to you is a sign of respect. Don't be so unappreciative." I still ignored them, simply pushed past them, left the office, and walked towards the company's exit. Chad quickly said to Ms. Chloe with a fawning smile, "Ms. Chloe, he's our former vice. He made a mistake and was just fired today. He's an orphan, and that jade is supposedly something his birth parents left him. It's clearly worthless, yet he treasures it." Before he could finish, Ms. Chloe slapped Chad directly across the face. At that, not only Chad but everyone at Apex was stunned. Ms. Chloe looked at Chad with cold eyes, and said, "Worthless thing. What are you to dare evaluate that jade? What right do you have to judge him?" Before Audrey could react, Ms. Chloe hastily left with her bodyguards. As soon as I stepped out of Apex's main entrance, Ms. Chloe caught up with me. Seeing Chloe pursue me, I frowned slightly. Who in the country hadn't heard of Sterling's reputation? It was a group company with hundreds of billions in assets, countless subsidiaries, and its entertainment company was particularly a leader in the country. That's why Audrey and Chad fawned over her so much. However, no matter how high her status, it made no difference to me. I had already lost everything, and didn't expect to gain anything from her. With nothing to desire, I naturally didn't need to bow and flatter her. Ms. Chloe didn't have an arrogant demeanor. She looked at me excitedly, and said with a trembling voice, "Your name is Ethan. You've been an orphan since childhood, and this jade was left to you by your birth parents." I nodded, not wanting to get entangled with her, and said, "Is there something you need?" Ms. Chloe rubbed her hands, carefully saying, "Could I borrow the jade in your hand for a few days? I want to take it home and show my parents. I promise I'll return it to you, okay?" The amulet in my hand was already shattered. Why would she want to borrow it? Was it some peculiar hobby of the wealthy? Just as I was about to shake my head and refuse, Ms. Chloe quickly said, I can find top-notch jade artisans, maybe they can fix this jade. Hearing that, I was instantly stirred. I didn't doubt she was lying to me. After all, her status and position were evident. Why would she lie to me for a worthless shattered jade? Ms. Chloe and I exchanged contact information. Under her persistent questioning, I also told her that I was currently staying at a hostel. Ms. Chloe, who had never experienced hardship since childhood, didn't understand what a hostel was. I helplessly explained, it's a place where over a dozen people can sleep in one room. Ms. Chloe's gaze at me, besides pity, was filled with even more anger. She gritted her teeth and said, Audrey divorcing you. She must be blind. Don't worry, once we confirm this jade well, after I go back, I'll definitely find a way to make her pay. She offered to transfer money to me, but I didn't accept. Although my meager dignity had been trampled by Audrey, I still wanted to preserve that last bit of self-respect and didn't want to accept others' kindness without understanding why. I didn't know why the high and mighty young lady from Sterling would look at me differently, but I was past the age for fantasies now. I only hoped that she could truly help me repair this shattered jade. After saying goodbye to Ms. Chloe, I returned to the hostel. A month from now, once I get the divorce with Audrey, I'll be completely free. Now, a very realistic problem lay before me, finding a job. With my experience working at Apex over the years, finding a similar job shouldn't be difficult, right? As it turned out, I sent out many resumes, but all went unanswered. An acquaintance in the industry secretly told me that I had been blacklisted by Audrey's company. The entertainment industry is neither too big nor too small. Top entertainment companies aren't short of people, and those of similar size to Apex would give Audrey some face, so my being blacklisted was to be expected. I had no choice. I prepared to go back to my old profession, delivering food or applying for security guard positions. It was at this moment that a wave of slander and defamation against me suddenly erupted online. On social media, Chad's rabid fans fiercely attacked me. Not only did they slander and falsely accuse me of harsh treatment towards Chad, but they also dug up my past, seemingly intent on tearing me apart and utterly destroying me. Many netizens, unaware of the truth, also joined in, directly making me go viral on local trending topics. That is just a kept man, a boy toy, with no real ability. He only got the vice position by relying entirely on his wife. How did Audrey ever fall for that disgusting, repulsive man back then? I heard that because Apex was heavily promoting Chad, and Audrey and Chad were getting close, Ethan grew jealous and hateful, targeting Chad at every turn. I feel so bad for Chad. I really hope that Ethan dies soon. I heard Ethan even violently attacked Chad at Apex, causing Chad to suffer severe injuries. Where is that Ethan now, sisters? We need to get revenge for Chad. If we don't kill that dog man Ethan, my hatred will never be appeased. The online smear campaign against me was clearly orchestrated by Chad behind the scenes. I initially didn't want to pay attention to it, but what I hadn't expected was how quickly this cyberbullying spread into reality. I don't know who revealed that I was staying at the hostel, but some of Chad's rabid fans actually came to the hostel, blocking the entrance with banners and continuously yelling insults. Even when the hostel owner called the police, it was useless. Just after those fans were chased away, that evening, some rabid fans started throwing threatening objects, like mock memorial items, in front of the hostel's entrance. As a result, the hostel's business was naturally affected. Eventually, the hostel owner, left with no choice, had to kick me out. I had nowhere to go and ended up sleeping on the streets in a park. Even so, Chad's rabid fans still wouldn't let me go, continuously exposing my whereabouts on social media. No matter where I went, people would yell insults and point fingers at me from behind. For several days straight, I was on the verge of breaking down. Just as I was about to confront those rabid fans, who were tracking me every day, things suddenly took a turn. A large amount of damaging information about Chad was suddenly exposed, all with pictures and undeniable proof. Chad incited his fans to cyberbully another rising star, causing that star to become overwhelmed and develop severe depression. Chad was like two different people, front and backstage, treating staff rudely, assaulting, and verbally abusing assistants. Chad was cheating on multiple people, maintaining long-term inappropriate relationships with several married women. The online storm of public opinion grew even more intense, but this time it was entirely directed at Chad. Even when Apex tried to put out the fires and whitewash the situation, it was useless. Whoever was behind this smear campaign against Chad clearly held significant influence on social media. Who could it be? Just as I wondered, Chad's career collapsed due to scandal completely. He was directly named and blacklisted by the most authoritative media outlet in the country. Now, not only was Chad finished, but Apex was also bound to suffer heavy losses. After all, Chad was the only A-list celebrity promoted by Apex, the company's cash cow, yet he was blacklisted before he could bring in much profit for the company. All the initial capital Apex invested in Chad had completely gone down the drain. I was still wondering which powerful figure Chad or Audrey had offended, when Ms. Close call came in, asking for my location excitedly and anxiously. After I told her my current location, she quickly came to pick me up. I asked somewhat excitedly, "Has the jade been repaired?" Ms. Chloe shook her head and said briskly, "Don't worry about the jade for now, just come with me somewhere, and you find out." I was pulled into the car by Ms. Chloe in a daze and soon taken to a paternity testing center. Before I could fully understand what was happening, I saw a middle-aged couple. I was stunned, not because they were Ms. Chloe's parents, but because I noticed a slight resemblance between their eyebrows and mine. They looked at me with tear-filled eyes, appearing very excited. Ms. Chloe said excitedly, with a choked voice, "Mom, Dad, he's definitely my brother, there's no mistake." For the next few days, I constantly had a surreal feeling. Ever since that day when the paternity test was done, and the expedited results confirmed I was Ms. Chloe's brother, the child stolen from the Chin family years ago, I had felt like I was dreaming. In my youth, I had fantasized that my birth parents were wealthy, and would one day find me, allowing me to live the life of a second-generation rich kid. I never expected that dream to come true. What's more, reality was even more outrageous than my wildest dreams. The family was no ordinary wealthy family. They possessed an unimaginable network of connections. Audrey's company, in front of the Chin family, was like an ant that could be crushed at will. Living in the Chin family's mansion, my parents were very good to me, and my sister, Ms. Chloe, also took great care of me. I gradually adapted to my new identity and accepted fate's arrangement. The old me used to complain about the unfairness of fate, blaming fate for the hardships that befell me. Now, all the gloom and bitterness in my heart had vanished. My parents prepared a grand homecoming celebration for me, inviting celebrities and influential figures from all walks of life. Online, the return of Sterling's eldest legitimate son was widely publicized. In my parents' words, "I had suffered so much hardship while living away. Now that I had finally returned, they wanted to make me the center of everyone's attention, and the slander and defamation against me on social media from a while ago quickly disappeared. Those media personalities and streamers nervously issued public apologies to me. However, the Chin family wouldn't let them off easily. They immediately collected evidence and filed lawsuits, leading to many media outlets and streamers having their accounts banned and being forced offline. Some of Chad's extreme, rabid fans were also arrested by the police. As for Chad, after being blacklisted, he knew there was no longer a place for him in the country and prepared to develop his career abroad. However, on his way to the airport, he was violently struck by a dump truck, instantly breaking both his legs, and the severe concussion left him with severe cognitive impairment. Audrey's company was boycotted by many companies in the industry and quickly declined. The day before my homecoming celebration, my sister Ms. Chloe accompanied me to the Countess office, where I met Audrey. Having not seen her for a month, Audrey looked much older and more haggard, as if she had aged 10 years. She looked at me with a tear-streaked face, full of remorse. Before she could speak, Ms. Chloe said coldly, "Don't try to play the victim here, just finish the divorce proceedings. We have other things to do, we don't have time to waste on you here." Audrey looked sorrowful and said to me with a trembling voice, "Ethan, I know I was wrong, can you give me another chance? I promise." I cut her off, saying softly, "Everyone makes their own choices, as long as they can bear the consequences of those choices, that's what matters. I've given you many chances, but you never cherished them. Don't wait until you've lost everything to regret it. Audrey, I once deeply loved you, and had imagined spending the rest of my life with you. It's just a pity you were the one who abandoned me first. Let's just leave it at that. Once the divorce is processed, there will be nothing between us. Don't worry, I'll also tell the Chin family members not to target you anymore. At this point, saying more was useless. I also didn't want to hear Audrey's words of remorse and promises anymore. There's nothing sadder than a dead heart. I no longer loved her. Audrey wanted to say something else but ultimately didn't. After the divorce was finalized, she gave me a deep look, then ran out of the Countess' office, sobbing. Ms. Chloe pouted and grumbled. It was clearly her fault. Yet Shez acting as if Shez the one who's suffered immensely. If she had consistently treated you, my brother, she would still be my sister-in-law now. It's just a shame she didn't have that good fortune. I shook my head and sighed deeply. On the day of the homecoming celebration, my parents introduced me to celebrities and influential figures from all walks of life. The scene was grand and lively. A piece of news arrived. Audrey had committed suicide by jumping into a river last night. I froze for a few seconds, then no longer cared about it. Continuing to chat and laugh with the influential figures. Audrey, what I owed you in this life, I have fully repaid. If there's a next life, let's not meet again.